They were a passionate and violent pair, pitted in a deadly competition with each other, yet united in an eerie psychic battle against the world. From childhood, twins June and Jennifer Gibbons were inseparably linked, bound together in a strange love and obsessive hatred, living life only for each other, even creating their own language. They decided the only way one of them could live normally was for the other to die. Born in 1963, June and Jennifer were moved by their Barbadian parents to a small town off the coast of Wales called Haverfordwest, where their father Aubrey was stationed as a pilot. Gloria, their mother, kept house and looked after the twins and 3 siblings. Even as babies, Gloria noticed the twins wanted to do everything together, even struggling to be breastfed simultaneously. As they grew older and being of West Indian descent but living in Wales, the girls were subject to racial taunts during their school years. The bullying would get so bad that the principal would allow them to leave before everybody else, in order to give them a head start. The color of their skin, coupled with the fact that they had speech impediment, made them very difficult for people to understand, and as they grew, they avoided everyone, including their family. Thankfully, they had each other, and they became inseparable. Spending every waking moment in each other's company, they eventually created their very own language, an unintelligible babble which nobody else could understand. This was not the first case of twins making up their own language. In fact, it has happened so frequently that there is a word for it: cryptophasia, a type of idioglossia which is an invented language spoken by twins. They spoke only to each other and not even their parents, but they occasionally communicated with their younger sister Rose. They would mirror each other's actions effortlessly and do the same task in the same way at the same time. To the outside world, they were elective mutes. Aunt Trehan, an expert on elective mutes, met the twins and became convinced a game was going on, that by secret eye signals, Jennifer was stopping June from speaking, controlling her as if she were a robot. The twins booked her colleagues, moving extremely slowly in perfect time. They seemed inhuman, like zombies, drinking cups of tea and taking off their coats in eerie unity. A head teacher even called Jennifer evil. Kathy Arthur, another expert, secretly recorded the twins' private language. Playing it back slowly, she discovered it to be everyday English spoken at enormous speed. Equally striking was the strength of will that lay behind their mutual mirroring. They were taken horse riding in an attempt to encourage individual freedom of movement, but if one fell off, the other would immediately fall off too. By the age of 14, they had a series of therapists who tried really hard to make them open up to the outside world. They were even sent to separate boarding schools, but instead of opening up, they further retracted in their close-guarded shells, becoming catatonic. Upon reunion, their bond strengthened further, and they used to stay locked up in their bedrooms for longer durations. In their room, they played with their dolls, rehearsed plays, wrote plays for one another, and found love in writing. Although it sounds like they were the best of friends, they were also the worst of enemies. Their relationship involved equal parts of laughter and violence. One time, Jennifer attempted to kill June by strangling her with her radio cord. Another time, June tried to drown Jennifer in a river. June was heard to say later in life that she couldn't seem to live with Jennifer, but also couldn't seem to live without her. In their diaries for each other, they spoke about their love-hate relationship. The excerpts from their diaries were chilling. June wrote about Jennifer, "She wants us to be equal. There's a murderous gleam in her eye. Dear Lord, I'm scared of her. She is not normal. Someone is driving her insane. It is me." She also wrote, "Nobody suffers the way I do. Not with her sister. With her husband, yes. With her wife, yes. With her child, yes. But this sister of mine, a dark shadow robbing me of sunlight, is my one and only torment." And Jennifer wrote about June in her diary, "We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the irritating deadly rays coming out of our bodies, stinging each other's skin. I say to myself, can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible or not possible. Without my shadow, would I die? Without my shadow, would I gain life, be free or left to die? Without my shadow, which I identify with the face of misery, deception, murder. They wanted to become authors and even wrote a few novels. They took a mail-order creative writing course and their books were published by a self-publishing press called New Horizons. But their novels couldn't create an impact on the literary world. In June's Pepsi Cola addict, the high school hero was seduced by a teacher, then sent away to a reformatory where a homosexual guard makes a play for him. In Jennifer's The Pugilist, a physician is so eager to save his child's life that he kills the family dog to obtain its heart for a transplant. The dog's spirit lives on in the child and ultimately has its revenge against the father. Jennifer also wrote about discomania, the story of a young woman who discovers that the atmosphere of a local disco incites patrons to insane violence. She followed up with A Taxi Driver's Son, a radio play called Postman and Postwoman, and several short stories. But their author stint was unsuccessful, and in order to get recognition, they started committing petty crimes. In October 1981, they injured a fireman when they deliberately burned down a tractor store, causing $200,000 worth of damage. Their violent spree could not last though. A few weeks after this incident, they were caught vandalizing and attempting to burn down a technical college not far from where they lived. Instead of locking them up in prison, they were sent to Broadmoor, a maximum security hospital near London for the criminally insane. When placed in Broadmoor, they underwent an IQ test, and it is said both of their results were well above average. They were that special kind of genius, so smart but completely lacking any form of social skill. At Broadmoor, the doctors found June and Jennifer to be deeply disturbed, even dangerous. The two took turns eating, one indulging one day while the other starved. And though they were split up and housed in cells on opposite ends of the hospital, nurses often found them eerily frozen in the same distinct poses. This went on for 11 years, until doctors agreed to transfer the twins to Caswell Clinic, a lower security facility in Bridgend, Wales. While at Broadmoor, an interviewer and journalist by the name of Marjorie Wallace met with the twins weekly. She was writing a book about them, and the twins were happy about it, giving her journals and poems and such. However, as the time went on, a darkness grew between the twins. During their stay at the mental facility, the twins made a pact that in order for one to lead a normal life, either one has to die. And after much discussion, they decided that Jennifer would sacrifice her life. Finally, the twins were going to be transferred to the less secure hospital, where they would serve another year and then be released into the public. Wallace went to visit the twins one last time at the Broadmoor Hospital, and Jennifer announced to Wallace, "Marjorie, I'm going to have to die." When Wallace asked why, Jennifer answered calmly, "Because we decided." The day they were transferred, they were loaded into a van, and as the van left, Jennifer slumped onto June's shoulder and went into a coma. She was pronounced dead at 6:15 that evening. The cause of Jennifer's death was deemed to be acute myocarditis, a sudden inflammation of the heart. But there were no symptoms of foul play, no poison in her system, and doctors have no exact reason for her death, and it still remains quite a mystery. They were 31 years old at the time. June said that Jennifer had been acting strangely for about a day before their release, and that her speech was slurred, and she said that she was dying. When Wallace met June after Jennifer's death, she found her in a strange mood. June told her, "I'm free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer has given her life for me." After Jennifer's death, June started interacting with people and became normal. She didn't need any psychiatric help and lives in a house in West Wales near her parents. As for her sister Jennifer, she is buried under a headstone engraved with a poem written by June. It reads, "We once were two, we two made one, we no more two, through life be one, rest in peace."